What are some of the best rogue Yu-Gi-Oh decks in the game right now? Listen, big dogs, I understand that the Yu-Gi-Oh meta can get a little stale, dealing with the same Yu-Gi-Oh deck over and over and over and over and over and over again. But in today's video, I actually comprised a list of fairly successful Yu-Gi-Oh strategies that you guys can be using and why they're so powerful right now. Let's go ahead and jump on in. What's going on with y'all, big dog? And it is an amazing day for Yu-Gi-Oh! I hope that your day phenomenal. But if it isn't, don't let what happened at the beginning of your day ruin the rest of your day. And in case you guys didn't know, it is that time. It just so happens to be Update Monday! A particular time where I trick you guys into thinking this is a Yu-Gi-Oh video, when in actuality, I want to make you a better person overall. For today's Update Monday, can I be a little vulnerable with you guys for a second? I think being vulnerable to people that you care about is really, really important, and I care about you guys. I actually want to talk about something that's been on my mind. The YouTube channel has been doing really bad, like astronomically bad from my end. We've actually never been in this type of rut, and stuff like that can actually affect your mental. If you guys are a content creator, or if you put your blood, sweat, and tears and hard work into something, and then you start to see it die, it definitely is something that can be heavy, and it's really heavy on my heart. I take a lot of pride in what I do, and I absolutely love what I do, but to see something that feels like it's dying die is heartbreaking. But therein lies the Update Monday. I'm not giving up hope. Just because something is going astronomically bad and not going my way doesn't mean that it's time for me to hang up, tuck tail, or run. And I think that that's one of the most important lessons that you guys can learn. When your back is against the wall, you surround yourself with the important people that you can trust in. You rally with their support and you come back even stronger. I'm saying this because I genuinely know that I can rely on every single one of you guys, and I know that this is only a temporary moment. We will become better. And speaking of such, there's actually quite a few rogue decks that are surprisingly better. Doom of Dimensions has been doing its thing. It's been a fairly decent core Yu-Gi-Oh set, with some Yu-Gi-Oh strategies being a lot stronger than what expected. Now, I do want to start off this list with a Yu-Gi-Oh strategy that actually topped a regional from Doom of Dimension that no one saw coming. I mean, to be honest with you, looking at it, this could be a Genesis Yu-Gi-Oh deck. It's actually that freaking crazy. I would have never given it the benefit of the doubt, but Rose Dragons make so much sense to be competitive right now. As you guys already know, one of the best decks, if not the best deck in the entire room, is Mitsurugi Yumi, a Yu-Gi-Oh strategy that can play almost infinitely, and if you have enough hand traps, well, they just pretty much hand loop you. The inherent weakness of this deck is being able to destroy all monsters on the field as many times as possible, and that's something that Black Rose Dragon can easily do. But don't just hear it from me, see it as an actual Yu-Gi-Oh top. My man Brady Vulcan from Las Vegas, Nevada topped with Rose Dragons. And holy crap, this is the deck that he is playing. It genuinely does make sense. As you guys already know, Black Rose Dragon can be easily summoned through Bramble Rose Dragon, and that is a quick effect, my friend. But there's also some really cool cards like Jurashin, which is that can easily synchro summon to, which is a board ripe Raigeki and Lightning Storm in the side deck. I'm not even going to pretend like I know everything about Black Rose Dragon, other than it's a fairly consistent synchro summon plant-based Yu-Gi-Oh deck. And Brady did pilot this deck through multiple competitors, especially decks like Mitsurugi and Yumi, and Mitsurugi Yumi earning himself that top. It's pretty crazy to know that a Yu-Gi-Oh strategy that almost can be played in Genesis is really strong. But it makes sense when you consider that monster removal is incredibly strong this format, and if you have a Yu-Gi-Oh deck that prides itself in monster destruction, you're probably there. Which is also another reason why we have to talk about Fire Kings again, my brother. Fire Kings are a crazy strong budget Yu-Gi-Oh deck like we talked about last time, but it also just so happens to be a really good deck if you have even more money. If we take a look at Fire King Dinosaurs, brother, that's crazy. This is probably one of the most disgusting Yu-Gi-Oh decks I've ever seen. So in case you don't know how it works, Jirak Megalo, when destroyed, allows you to be able to send Jirak Astero to your graveyard. Jirak Astero can banish itself alongside of Jirak Megalo to summon Jirak Meteor, which destroys all cards on the field. Not even all monsters, just all cards. It gets a little bit more intricate when you consider that Island and Yolcanix can destroy Megalo, but when you see that Kirin can destroy Megalo on your opponent's turn, and you get multiple interruptions, it's kind of crazy. Or that Miscellaneous Saris can be sent to the graveyard off of Fire King Avatar Kirin, meaning that Garunix can bridge the Kirin into a Misk into a Jirak Megalo to not only get more fire monsters, but to get this guy on the field on your opponent's turn. It's actually insane how strong Fire King and Dinos, two of my most favorite archetypes, can work really well together. I'm actually a little bit disappointed that I didn't think of this myself, because it is big brain. I know I also talked about Sky Striker and Memento last week being really good budget decks. Well, if budget isn't your problem, these are also some of the best rogue decks in the game too. This is the Memento strategy that topped YCS Anaheim, and unfortunately, it can run Arc Nemesis Protoslock. That is a thing. And this is the Sky Striker deck that topped YCS Brazil. So as you can see, not only are these decks really good at board break and don't play a ton of hand traps, they're absolutely strong enough to be able to top the highest level of events. Now, technically, I just gave you guys 4 really strong rogue Yu-Gi-Oh strategies right there. But I am not done. I'm actually going to give you some other Yu-Gi-Oh strategies that I haven't covered. Why? Well, it's simply because the more Yu-Gi-Oh decks you have, the more copies of Raven Wing version 4 you gotta buy. One thing that has been going incredibly right for us is Raven Wing. You guys have been buying the living daylights out of these sleeves. And I like to say it's not only because of my commitment to excellence, giving you guys a premium quality, but also giving you guys a sleeve that is cheaper than my competitors. I understand that life right now is a little bit hard, so I'm gonna try my absolute best to give you guys a discount code that you guys can use through October and November. As long as you're participating in November, if you know what I'm saying. Right now, we put up a deal where you guys can purchase not only our sleeves, but our premier mats all in one low price. So go ahead and go to TheCaliEffect.com and purchase your sleeves today. Now, a couple of months ago when Battles of Legends Monsters Mayhem came out, I said Gym Knights were a cracked Yu-Gi-Oh deck. They were stupid strong. Some of you guys laughed at me. Yeah, well, who's the one laughing now? The deck's crazy. This is the Gym Knight deck that topped YCS Brazil. I think I've shown you guys some of these deck lists in videos. The funny thing is that this particular deck can artifact Mjolnir lock, so yeah. It is, though, primarily a going second Yu-Gi-Oh deck, and it's really good at being able to bust boards and win the game. It also just so happens to be one of the better Master Duel decks to use too, so with that platform is completely struggling with tier 0 dominance in Maxi, Gym Knight is actually a Yu-Gi-Oh strategy that kinda doesn't care about those. And the same thing could be said about the Charmy cards that people are using. Because in theory, if you guys are going second with this deck, then they can't Charmy you. Because if they do, you're winning. It's easily one of the more dynamic decks, and for the players that want me to put personal deck lists, I'll be putting them all on my Patreon as a special thank you for helping me pay my editors. I'll try to crack that Rose Dragon deck too. Maybe we'll even make it a little bit different from what Brady's been doing. He's such a cool guy. If you're not going against Floodgate Yu-Gi-Oh decks, board breaker style Yu-Gi-Oh strategies are absolutely insane. So if you're playing a deck that naturally disrupts your opponent's board while also being able to have its own thing if it goes first, then it's probably going to be a successful deck in the format. There's another reason why Unchained is one of the better rogue strategies in the game. Here we go. We have a 60 card Unchained Yu-Gi-Oh strategy, and to be honest with you guys, this might be just Fiend Pile at this point in time. While I'm not 100% on the 60 card train, I do understand. Between Nightmare Throne, Tour Guide, the Dark Beckoning Beast, 2 Unchained cards pretty much, and Fiendsmith combo, every single one of these cards is an opportunity to go full combo. And you also limit the opportunities of you bricking with cards like Unchained Twin Sarama, or maybe even the Blue Dog, which is Shayama, or even just Disaster. The deck is overall just really good at going second and breaking your opponent's board, especially when you consider that you have cards like Unchained Soul of Anguish and Unchained Abomination. These are some pretty good disruptive cards that allow you to be able to address the situation your opponent has. And while we haven't seen too much Unchained in the metagame, I think there could be a strong reason to play it. It's one of the few Yu-Gi-Oh strategies that can use the TCG exclusive Bui the Dawn's Light, which is actually cracked. It gives this deck almost an infinite engine to keep on playing forever. And it has all the board breaking capabilities you would want in a Yu-Gi-Oh strategy right now. Now for my last deck, this one might come out of the blue, but I genuinely think that this deck is crazy right now. A couple of ban lists ago, it lost a key piece that made it a ferocious contender when going first, but this is still one of the most deadliest decks in the entire game, and I'm talking about Mermail. Yeah, for some reason, there are still a couple of cards that should be banned that are not banned. One is Glacia the Elemental Lord. If you don't have the right cards, this deck will rip 3 cards out of your hand just for comboing. And the other is the Water Barrier Statue. I don't know why this card still exists. Saying that this is the only competitive water deck in the game, and you lock your opponent into only summoning water monsters. This is Isaiah Hernandez de la Cruz's Mermail deck, and it's fairly standard to just about every water deck you'll see. There's not really too much different here. It does play cards like Dominus Impulse, and what I personally like about this deck is that it's really good at forcing your opponent to stop interactions that you really don't care about. Which means if you can summon another Nephthybus, your opponent is in a lot of trouble. If you activate the effect of Mermail Shadow Squad, your opponent has to stop it, which means that you'll probably be able to search as many times as you want to if your opponent stops it. And seeing that you can easily look at your opponent's hand, you can dodge yourself from pesky effects like Nibiru the Primal Being, Ash Blossom, and of course if people are still playing it, Droll and Lockbird. I think Mermails are a secret sleeper simply because players aren't playing Droll and Lockbird enough. But seeing that it's okay against Mitsurugi and terrible against Yummy and not good against Mitsurugi Yummy, I mean at least if the opponent's smart enough, the absence of Droll actually makes this deck stronger. But I don't know, those are the rogue decks that I have been peeping that have been dominating right now. Just like how there's hope for this Yu-Gi-Oh channel and I'll always believe in it, there's actually hope in Yu-Gi-Oh when it comes to rogue. Of course, big dog, as always, if you like these videos, then you already know what to do. I'm gonna need you guys' help more than ever. Share this video with a friend. Hell, you can watch it a couple of times, you know, leave it on just the background. And more importantly, check out these videos so I can catch you on the next one.